From a very young age, we're told that becoming smart requires a long, exhausting process. 12 years of school, 4 years of college, maybe graduate school after that. And yet, after all of that time, many people still end up confused, underpaid, or unemployed. The only real skill they gain is the ability to explain their situation online in perfect English. The truth is, intelligence isn't nearly as complicated as society makes it sound. Compared to almost every other animal on the planet, humans are already incredibly capable. So when people say they want to be smarter, what they usually mean is that they want useful skills. They want better problem-solving ability. They want higher grades. They want more income. And they want just enough intelligence and conversation to earn respect without being labeled a nerd. The problem is that most advice about getting smarter is either so philosophical that it's impossible to apply, or so shallow that it barely helps at all. You're told to eat certain foods, drink coffee, exercise more, sleep better, listen to classical music, take IQ tests. None of these things are harmful, but none of them will actually make you smart on their own. At some point, you have to engage with real information. Intelligence comes from learning, not from shortcuts, and learning requires effort that your brain believes is useful. One of the most effective ways to learn is reading, but not all reading works the same way. Fiction improves vocabulary, reading speed, and emotional understanding. It quietly helps you become more comfortable in conversations. Nonfiction, on the other hand, gives you ideas, facts, and frameworks that can make you sound knowledgeable, if you use them correctly. There's a big difference between sharing something interesting and correcting someone. Saying, "well, actually," before explaining something instantly makes people defensive. Framing knowledge as curiosity instead of correction makes people listen. Intelligence combined with humility is far more powerful than intelligence used to prove others wrong. Learning skills works the same way. If you don't use what you learn, your brain assumes it's useless and deletes it. Most skills don't require complete mastery to be useful. In fact, a small portion of focused effort usually creates the majority of progress. The mistake most people make is believing they need to know everything before they begin. Watching tutorials or reading books feels productive, but real learning only happens when you apply what you've absorbed. You can't learn how to tie a tie by watching videos alone. You only learn when your hands are involved, when you make mistakes, and when you repeat the process. The same rule applies to reading. Books don't make you smarter unless you give your brain a reason to remember what's inside them. If you read a chapter about organization, organize something. If you read about communication, test it in real conversations. Action tells your brain that the information matters. When real-world practice isn't immediately possible, imagination becomes a powerful substitute. If you're reading about how to jumpstart a car but don't have access to one, mentally walk through the situation. Picture the stress, the steps, the order of actions, and the consequences of getting it wrong. Your brain doesn't clearly separate real experience from vivid mental simulation. By imagining yourself using the knowledge, you make it easier to recall later when it actually matters. This is why tests are effective. Tests create artificial pressure that convinces the brain that information is important. The problem is that once the pressure disappears, the brain quickly lets go of the knowledge. That's why rereading, highlighting, or passive review rarely leads to lasting understanding. Test questions are far more effective because they force active recall. They simulate the moment when you actually need the information. Textbooks, despite being unpopular, are one of the fastest ways to become smarter in a structured way. They remove distractions, eliminate unnecessary storytelling, and constantly challenge you to apply what you've learned. They aren't designed for comfort or entertainment, they're designed for efficiency. If you struggle with a problem, you're forced to confront what you don't know and fix it. That process is where intelligence is built. In the end, becoming smarter has very little to do with genetics or talent. It's about learning information and giving your brain a reason to keep it. Use what you learn, practice it, apply it, or at the very least, imagine yourself needing it in a real situation. Do that consistently, and intelligence stops being something you chase and starts becoming something you naturally demonstrate. Stay ahead of your habits. Subscribe now. Comment on what's been on your mind, and we'll decode it in the next video.